youth are being misused once again as we go towards this electoral process?
First of all, I want to say that narrative of the youth are the only ones involved in violence is so fake. Because in Jacaranda, who was actually stopping people from going to a rally? It was the police who are actually paid, who are given instructions. So we can't always just say like, oh, the youth are being used. The youth in Jacaranda, at the end of the day, the people who actually caused the chaos are institutions that were being used by politicians, and we know which side of that divide. We've seen places where, and I come from Kisii County, and I can tell you when we had the by-elections last year, it was the police again who are being used. So, and you see for them, it is like you're putting them between a rock and a hard place, because if they have to secure their jobs. So when they are telling you orders from above, yes, they mean orders from the above. So I think, first of all, that narrative of only the youth being used to bring the violence during this election, no. We know that institutions are being used, and we know that state machinery is being applied, and we know for a fact that in Jacaranda, it was not young people that were throwing stones and doing all sorts of... It was paid people, and it was actually an institution that was being used. So sometimes also, let's be fair to the youth. And I think that narrative of young people being used, young people going out to because of violence, I can tell you that a lot of sensitization has been done thanks to the civil society, thanks to, community-based organizations, and, those people who are actually doing the work of IEBC on sensitizing the electorate. And a lot of youth right now are very aware when they're told, kujeni nitawalipa kila mtu 200 muende na bodaboda or whatever. Nowadays, they are very aware that actually what I'm doing is wrong, and it is a choice that they're taking. Now, why would they be taking that choice to say, nitachukua 200 yako, I go to a rally and cause chaos? Because we bring it back to the economy. Pesa mfukoni. We bring it back to the fact that if my family is relying on me as the 18-year-old to bring something in the evening because literally the economy is so horrible, yes, at one point I might be compromised because I am literally trying to survive. So at the end of the day, we should stop blaming the youth. Really. We should stop blaming the youth, and we should start blaming the failed institutions. We should start blaming the failed government. We should start blaming the person who has the full authority and autonomy to turn this, thing around and actually create proper economic empowerment for the youth. At the end of the day, we are not going to keep blaming the youth for doing what they need to do to survive. We need to start understanding that this election is about the economy. This election is about pesa mfukoni. This election is not only about constitutional amendments that do not translate to removing the youth from the streets and, taking them out from where they're vulnerable. It's actually about saying, by the time I take office, we have that 75% of this population that are youth. I don't know what percentage of it is actually between the 18 to 34-year-old, but we need to put them to work. How are we going to put them to work? Lillian. So let me just say this. I personally, being a youth advocate, I personally being a person who has been in the trenches with those same youth who at one point was vulnerable enough to be compromised, I would say I blame it to the CEO of this country, who has completely ignored the youth, who has completely whether he has been digressed or whatever, but it is the fault of the president that we have so many idle youth out there. Uhuru Kenyatta has brought us to this place, and I blame it to him, and we stop blaming the youth for trying to survive.
The youth know better, according to